everyone, this is Fantasy-esque, and welcome back to Season 2 of Royal Clan in ClanGen, the Warrior Cats clan generated game. When we left off in the previous episode, we had some bruises, healed sprains, and fleas, basically minor, petty things that we were running around trying to sort, but this episode, things have turned a little bit more drastic. Although, I can't say that it is like a tragic end, because really, when we think about it, it's not, and I'll get to it in a second. For one of our cats. But we are picking up in the second turn of Greenleaf. It is currently Moon 88. Let's check up on the Leader's Den. Unsurprisingly, we have all of our alliances here under Queen Rainstar. Now on to events. Royal Clan does not have enough healthy royal physicians. Cats will be sick/hurt for longer and have a higher chance of dying. And then the tragic, well, I said it wasn't tragic and it really isn't, but you know, the drastic end for one of our cats. Scorchmoss is suddenly struck by a sharp pain in her chest. She is found later that day, cold. And the reason why I'm saying that I can't say Scorchmoss's death is tragic is because when you think about it, she lived a really full life, and even right at the end, she managed to pretty much like accomplish the things she wanted to accomplish. She even died being in a mated relationship with the cat that she had been in love with for most of her life. So, I mean, when her first love, Flailstorm was actually the first cat that she ever had a romantic interest with, and then she was matched up with Watergale, who was much older, but she fell in love with him, had kids with him. Watergale passed on when Scorchmoss was quite young, and then her kids passed on not long after that. But after Watergale's death, after her first love's death, she kind of rekindled her feelings for Flailstorm, and then ever since then, she's been in love with him for her entire life. And then a couple moons ago, Flailstorm made it official with her. And it's kind of been hard for the two of them to get together. And at some point, there was a brief period when Flailstorm had feelings for her genuinely, but then, as he got older, his mind got scattered. He got distracted by other cats and other things and started taking him for granted. But right at the end there, they did make things official. And even if I personally felt as though Flailstorm wasn't entirely being sincere with Scorchmoss, at least Scorchmoss was being genuine from her end, from her side, and at least she got to feel the fulfillment of being in a relationship with Flailstorm right at the end. And in the last episode, she was even getting his favorite prey, and she was giving him his favorite prey, and I think more than anything, that's something that would have made Scorchmoss happy. So I feel as though, even though she has left us after so many moons of being with us, that it was after a life well lived. And then Foxclaw's bruises have healed. Freezefur is free of fleas at last, so that's kind of good. The little problems they were having in the last episode has been kind of fixed super quick. In the losses Icicle Speck weathered in the past, Scorchmoss had always been there to comfort him. Now that it's her death that Icicle Speck is grieving, he is alone. As the vigil draws to a close, someone suggests he should eat. He refuses, and not so much as shifting his vacant gaze, so he must have been good friends with her, and it makes sense that Icicle Speck, he was, I think, very young when the clan started. He must have been a kit, if not an apprentice, and Scorchmoss, has been one of the cats there with him for a long time. She was one of the founders as well. So this is an adult figure that's always been guiding Icicle Speck and I suppose comforting him. And even though others have passed in the clan before this, at least, one of the other founders was there. Flailstorm still is, but Flailstorm doesn't really have that same, I feel comforting touch that Scorchmoss did. And then, frankly, they're all better off without Scorchmoss, and Inkfeather doesn't know why everyone else is so grief-stricken. Yeah, Inkfeather, we know that, she didn't have so much of a good relationship with Scorchmoss, and honestly, that kind of started because Scorchmoss was, I think, feeling a little bit bitter towards Inkfeather for things going so smoothly for her. And that's probably why Inkfeather, she doesn't feel too upset about Scorchmoss going, because she's probably looking at Scorchmoss the way Scorchmoss was towards the end. But, we've seen Scorchmoss from the very beginning, and she had quite an arc. We kind of saw her good moments. We saw the, stuff she's been through. So I think we can understand why she might have gotten bitter towards the end, but at least she had a little bit of sweetness in Flailstorm. The past moon, Scorchmoss has taken their place in StarClan. Royal Clan mourns their loss, and their clanmates will miss the spot they took up in their lives. Moments of their life are shared in stories around the circle of mourners as those that were closest to them take them to their final resting place. So Icicle Spec, yeah, he's down, not feeling too good, so he's not going to be going out on his patrols. Let's take a look at the Medicine Cat Den. Rosemary was used for Scorchmoss's body. Icicle Spec was given time as treatment for grief-stricken. Foxclaw's bruises healed. Freezefoe was given Plantain as treatment for fleas, and then his fleas kind of went away. Let's take a look at relationships and see if maybe we can get a timeline as to Scorchmoss's death and, her final moments. Scorchmoss keeps telling Quillrunner to stop saying a joke, but Quillrunner doesn't take her request seriously. When discussing the future, Scorchmoss and Frostfade discuss the policies they'd implement in a clan of their own. So I wonder if Scorchmoss, knowing that her end was coming, is maybe discussing with one of the younger cats the kind of clan she would want to see in the future, even if herself, her mate, her children are not going to be the ones to live in it. Icicle Spec goes for a nice long walk with Garlic Glow. Okay, so maybe Icicle Spec started noticing that Garlic Glow wasn't too happy with him last time, and he's trying to make it up to her by going on a bit of a walk to reassure her maybe. Cinnamon Paw points out that Icicle Spec's fresh kill has gone bad before he eats it, so some father-son bonding time. Flailstorm doesn't think the object that Inkfeather asked him to find is real. When a clanmate passes by holding stinking herbs, both Flailstorm and Ghostfeather gag. Something good happens to Shining Stripe, and most of the clanmates congratulate him, but Foxclaw doesn't say anything at all. Shining Stripe brushes against Ghostfeather while correcting his stance and looks away with a purr. Was this something that was happening between anyone? Was this the thing beforehand, or is this new? I don't remember Shining Stripe and Ghostfeather. I don't remember this. Oh, I'm nervous, guys. I'm nervous. You know what? I wonder if Shining Stripe... Because, I don't know, I kind of feel like... I know he's got a couple lingering romances, but I can't remember them. I feel like Shining Stripe is someone who maybe is focused on one cat and wants his partner to do the same for him, is maybe noticing the interest that Queen Rainstar is showing in Flarefreckle, his sister, and so in retaliation maybe he's also kind of showing interest in Ghostfeather. I'm wondering if that's the case. Cinnamon Paw smiles at Flarefreckle whenever they meet. Flarefreckle loses in a race against Ghostfeather and acts bitterly about it. Flarefreckle is rolling around a little too playfully with Foxclaw. And has this been a thing? Or is this the new thing as well? I thought Flarefreckle and Ghostfeather had a thing going on. No? Am I remembering the wrong cat? Flarefreckle, what's going on with you? Bearpelt notices Frostfade doing something generous. Bearpelt can't stand hearing about how helpful Ghostfeather is. Ooh. I can kind of see Bearpelt being a little bit anti-Ghostfeather because of the rejection that he faced, and it was a pretty strong rejection, so it's not like he can weasel his way back into Ghostfeather's good books, and I feel like that kind of grates on Bearpelt's nerves because he's used to doing whatever he wants whenever he wants. And yet, Bearpelt is admiring Ghostfeather from afar. Okay, Bearpelt, okay. I thought you had some sense of, not shame, but self-preservation maybe, some sense of, dignity, but apparently not. No, that is not the case. Inkfeather reassures Ghostfeather about something that was bothering him, so some mother-son bonding time. Quillrunner has noticed Ghostfeather isn't doing a lot of work lately. Quillrunner has started to see flaws in Riverpaw's philosophies. Quillrunner was caught enjoying a moonlit stroll with Inkfeather last night. This I don't think is surprising, but I don't think their relationship has had any improvement, so this is actually good for them. I think this was one of the couples that I was actually happy with. Frostfade thought Bearpelt was very polite today. Frostfade thinks Cinnamon Paw is very polite. Bearpelt has to help Foxclaw stop choking on a huge bone. Okay, so even more time they're spending together. Ghostfeather worries that one of his friends likes Rainstar, Queen Rainstar more. Freezefur and Shining Stripe accidentally startle one another. Garlic Glow heard a story about something kind Cinnamon Paw did. Garlic Glow hears Foxclaw laugh at a clanmate's joke even though it was lame. Both Queen Rainstar and Frostfade startle at a clap of thunder. Queen Rainstar got tricked into doing one of Riverpaw's chores. Icicle Speck doesn't bother to correct the blatantly wrong thing Cinnamon Paw said. Let's see. Riverpaw has a weird feeling about something Flailstorm said the other day. And then we have Scorchmoss passing away. So Scorchmoss, she had that run-in with Quillrunner she wasn't happy with, but then she had a good time with Scorchmoss talking about, the future. And then it seems not long after that, I think Scorchmoss maybe isolated herself from the rest of the clan members as she was fading away. It makes me a little bit upset that Flailstorm didn't make the effort to interact with her, because I imagine she must have been in her den kind of fading away slowly, and everyone else was busy kind of doing things with each other. But with Flailstorm, I feel like he's too busy running around the other cats and, wanting to do things with the other cats or getting upset at the other cats. But it's like he's looking for attention elsewhere now that Scorchmoss has already given him, her share, and he's not seeking her out. And that makes me upset. But you know what? Now that Scorchmoss isn't here, he's gonna have to deal with loneliness, because she was the only cat kind of putting up with him in a sense, and now she's not there, so what is he going to do? But okay, that is all we have for events. Let's wrap up over here and move on to the cat list. Okay, let's continue with our cat list, where we have had some interesting changes within the clan. So a quick reminder on our loyalties over here. It feels very strange to not have Scorchmoss in the number. I was going through the different cats and their relationships, and when I got to Flailstorm, I clicked on next, expecting Scorchmoss, and she wasn't there. I think after Riverpaw, I was expecting Scorchmoss, and it went to Flailstorm, and I was a little bit surprised for a second. Like, wait, where did Scorchmoss go? But she's no longer with us. Okay, so the first thing I noticed was with Shining Stripe, who has had a romance gain with Ghostfeather, because he was helping him train and brushing up against him and purring, and we kind of said that this probably was because Shining Stripe noticed the queen, his mate, getting a little bit too close to his sister Flarefreckle, and maybe in slight retaliation was giving Ghostfeather a bit of attention. So there's that. The next thing I noticed was with Flarefreckle, and this kind of took me off guard. She has a new romance with Foxclaw. What? So yeah, she was rolling around a little bit too playfully with Foxclaw. Now I feel a little bit bad for Ghostfeather, because I think this whole time Ghostfeather, who she feels nothing for, has been holding a candle to Flarefreckle. And then whereas Foxclaw hasn't been putting in any effort at all, I don't think has ever shown interest in her. But as soon as she catches the feel for one of these brothers, it's Foxclaw. I feel a little bit bad for Ghostfeather because of how persistent, or I suppose how loyal he has been to his feelings for Flarefreckle. Okay, so there is that. The next thing I noticed was with Bearpelt. Bearpelt, who has had a romance gain with Ghostfeather. So Flarefreckle aside, one cat definitely is being faithful to Ghostfeather, and that is Bearpelt, even though Ghostfeather has already from his end cleared things up with Bearpelt. I'm pretty sure the moon where Ghostfeather told him to like stop following him around like a kitten, nothing was going to happen between them. Bearpelt found that immensely attractive because Bearpelt is shameless, and when someone tells him not to do something, he just wants to do it even more. So yeah, Bearpelt, he was getting mad at Ghostfeather over something, and then he was admiring Ghostfeather from a distance. So he kind of made me eat my words, because I was saying like, oh look, Bearpelt, he has like he has a grudge against Ghostfeather for rejecting him, and then Bearpelt in the very next line was admiring Ghostfeather, so I was like, hey, heck, if that's what he wants to do, I guess I didn't have to go on that little rant about how he was maybe feeling a little bit jilted. But no, Bearpelt doesn't care about any of that. It just makes him more infatuated with Ghostfeather because he can't have Ghostfeather. And then the final thing I noticed was with Quillrunner, who has had a romance gain with Inkfeather, and this made me really happy because he and Inkfeather, I think, reached a bit of a bottleneck maybe in their relationship, or they like kind of stopped and then nothing was really happening for a long time, but they went on a moonlit stroll together, and I think that definitely gave them some privacy and gave them time to maybe get to know each other a little bit more. So it's nice to see that, you know, Quillrunner's feelings have increased. Now from Inkfeather's perspective, I mean, her feelings for Quillrunner aren't that strong, but she's friends with him, and, you know, at least this gave Quillrunner some more encouragement, which is actually really, really good, especially because Quillrunner is still in love with Icicle Speck, and we know nothing's gonna ever happen on that front. So it would be nice for him to finally, you know, move on. Maybe he needs to fall in love with someone else to fall out of love with Icicle Speck. But okay, that is pretty much all we had for the relationships. Let's dive over to Inkfeather and have our matchmaking session with Queen Rainstar and Shining Stripe. How things are gonna go. Okay, comfort, platonic like, trust has increased, jealousy has decreased. So it seems as though, yeah, Rainstar and Shining Stripe, I think, are being a little bit sassy with one another right now, because both of them are kind of, maybe even to show each other, both of them, at least from Shining Stripe's point of view, they're kind of more distracted with some of the other cats. I think Rainstar, she's probably thinking more about Flare-Freckle right now. Shining Stripe, he's thinking about Ghostfeather, but I feel like for Shining Stripe, it's just to show Rainstar. He's just doing this to show Rainstar. And actually, I don't know why, I completely forgot that Shining Stripe and Ghostfeather had, I think they had a thing before he was paired up with Rainstar. I forgot about that, so it's not a new romance or anything, but yeah, it was something old that Shining Stripe wasn't touching because he was, like I said, focused on Rainstar, but just to kind of be a bit sassy, I think. His giving Ghostfeather attention, but I don't know if that affects Rainstar. I don't know if she's the jealous type. But okay, let's go ahead and see what everyone's doing for the day. Queen Rainstar enjoys the warmth of Greenleaf. Garlic Glow wishes she could take the day off. Icicle Speck is interpreting an omen. Inkfeather is wondering what living with two legs must be like. Shining Stripe tries to set a good example for younger cats. Flare-Freckle is eavesdropping on Garlic Glow. Bearpelt is mourning Scorch Moss. Oh, Bearpelt. Quillrunner is worried Shining Stripe is overworking himself. Frostfade doesn't want to go on Dusk Patrol. Foxclaw takes the fresh kill Ghostfeather was saving specifically because he was saving it. Foxclaw, any other day, this might not have hit as deep as it did today, because we know that the female that Ghostfeather has been, you know, pining over, Flare-Freckle, finally turned around and gave her attention. Not to Ghostfeather, but to Ghostfeather's brother. So in a sense, Foxclaw kind of stole, you know, the she-cat of his dreams. Stole her attention, and now Foxclaw is stealing his food. Not good, Foxclaw, not good. Ghostfeather enjoys the warmth of Greenleaf. Wait, who are you hanging out with? You are hanging out with the Queen Rainstar. Okay, so Ghostfur and Queen Rainstar hang out together. Freezefur takes pride in how well run his patrols always are. Cinnamon Paw hopes there's a juicy mouse left on the fresh kill pile for him. Riverpaw has his fur spiked up for no apparent reason. And Flailstorm is gnawing on a small bone busily. Even the fact, this makes me mad, but even the fact that like he is not, there's nothing here that he's saying about Scorch Moss, like no reaction to her death. He's not even grief-stricken. Like he's not grief-stricken at all. It's Icicle Spec who's grief-stricken. So this, for me, kind of solidifies the idea that he was in it just for attention. He didn't truly appreciate Scorch Moss the way that maybe he should have. But even if his intentions were selfish, at least Scorch Moss kind of got the happy ending she wanted. Okay, let's see how our apprentices are going for rankings. Okay, unsurprisingly, Cinnamon Paw is still performing the best. He has 38 experience and his brother has 25. So yeah, he is very far ahead of Riverpaw, and I don't see Riverpaw being able to catch up with Cinnamon Paw at this point. But still, he should keep trying. Okay, so now that we have wrapped all of that up, let us go ahead and move on to patrols. Okay, we're continuing with patrols. We currently have 219 prey and we need 38.5. Our Royal Physician is not in a state to be going out, but we're going to have 2 patrols of 6. So the first patrol we're going to have... Okay, we've got Queen Rainstar, Ghost Feather, Freezefur, Flare Freckle, Quill Runner, and Garlic Glow. So let's see what they get up to. While on patrol, Freezefur notices some suspicious paw prints in the mud beneath the canopy. Proceed. Boldly, Garlic Glow follows the paw prints to a trespassing rogue and confronts them. Fur puffed up and scowling, the patrol demands the rogue leave Royal Clan territory. Intimidated by their confidence and the number of cats, the rogue gives in and leaves without a fight. Okay, and then we have our next patrol of 6 with the apprentices. Oh, okay, so Riverpaw, sorry, I didn't even mention this, but yeah, Riverpaw's mentor Freezefur seems to be adamant in his strategy of throwing his apprentice to Frostfade and hoping for the best. I think maybe some of Freezefur's inexperience is maybe showing here, because he is sending Riverpaw with Frostfade, who's, more experienced and is doing better with Cinnamon Paw, and hoping that Riverpaw is going to be able to catch up. Riverpaw, I think, is trying, but he's still, struggling a little bit. But yeah, Freezefur, maybe he's got this strategy. I don't know if it's the best one, but, he's trying in his own way. So I suppose Frostfade is going to be supervising both Riverpaw and Cinnamon Paw in this patrol. And then we have Bearpelt, Foxclaw, and Shining Stripe here as well. So let's see what they get up to. The patrol encounters a clearing where a lot of 2-legs linger. Proceed. A 2-leg spots Bearpelt and crouches down, clicking softly. Bearpelt hisses and flees. Okay, well, I think this was a good lesson for both the apprentices about the danger of 2-legs and, them potentially trying to lure cats and trap them. Yeah, Bearpelt, who's obviously older, has more experience. The reaction he had, I think this is probably something that the youngsters can learn from, because they might get curious down the line and their curiosity could get them in trouble, but this is good. Okay, well, with that said and done, guys, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. Even though it was a little bit bittersweet, I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.